Hi, Johnny. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. So tell us about the film. When was it released? And I understand it's released um on three platforms right now. Is that right?
Yeah, there's three major ones, but
Mhm.
I would say we have Prime Video, we have Apple TV, and others, Fandango, YouTube. But I think another big one that was just released recently this past week was Tubi. So now you could watch the film for free.
Hmm.
It's always nice. And yeah, so Tubi is available.
So you are an actor in it, but you're also producing it. So two different
Mhm.
hats. How does that work, first of all?
Well, let me see how I can give you the short version. Um, I started off acting for a long time and been in a bunch of great projects. I was in back in the day, I worked with Steven Spielberg, Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie called Catch Me If You Can, and I had some lines, and my scenes were with Leo. And I've been all over.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, thanks. That was a fun day.
Yeah.
And then I've been all over Warner Brothers shows, co-stars, guest stars, live audience. But as the years went on, acting is it's very competitive. You start as you get older, you start to really see how competitive it is, and what your chances really are of getting cast. They only pick one. They only pick one actor, right? One character, one actor and there's hundreds and thousands of people that are going out. So I started to, you know, um, I started to say, you know what, I want to be the captain of my ship and go out and raise the money myself so I could be the boss. So nobody could tell me what to do in a way, right? Like I wanted to, I didn't want to get booted out of roles, which I've been, second and third in line and you just never quite get there. And that's what I did. And we raised a bunch of money from private investors. And yeah, so we raised the money and we made Shaky Grounds. And this wasn't like a passion project. It was just something that I did as a short film in 2010. So it's a long time ago. But it was just one of those things that I wanted to just see it through. And I thought it had some potential too. I like the story and all. So that's kind of how I switched. And I'm moving forward. I'm now I'm in talks. Well, I've actually signed up to produce a really big film, um, hopefully coming next year. So I'm going to keep doing the producing, and I continue. I still want to continue to do the acting, kind of like what Adam Sandler does, like his Blueprint. He
Yeah,
does
yeah.
acting and producing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to continue to do both until maybe I'll just do one like later on. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But that's kind of how my mentality was with this.
So I think the advantage of that is that you're producing it, and therefore you can see what roles are there, and you can say, I'm actually going to be really good in this role, right?
Correct. That
Yeah.
is correct. Yeah, yeah. Yes, that's exactly right.
Hmm. Yeah. So I completely get that. But there's a lot of groundwork that you have to do in order to get the money, obviously. How do you go about finding the money and get it?
A
That which is the hardest thing, I would say.
magician never reveals his secret. Next question, please. No, you just have to grind. You're at the beginning, you're grinding. You're just trying to convince the whoever you're talking to that, it's a good investment. This is why, and stuff like that. It's hard though, because in our industry or my industry, it's it's tough these days, but yeah, there's always a way.
And you said that the film was a short film to start with in 2010. So how did it be developed to be a feature film?
Yeah, over the years, we just thought it would be a great movie one day, and I collaborated with some writers, and the script was rewritten a bunch of times, and we just thought this would be a great film. And with the coffee shop element, there was also discussions of maybe opening a coffee shop chain called Shaky Grounds, which is still technically in the works, possibly. So we'll see
Oh.
about that. Kind of like how Friends does Central Perk.
Mhm.
We were thinking about doing that as well. So that's another element. Yeah,
And where would that be if you do open that coffee shop? Where would it be? Which location?
I don't know. That's just maybe different cities. We've looked at different area, different places around the country.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Where are you based?
I'm based in Los Angeles right now.
Okay.
LA, baby.
Okay, so it makes more sense for it to be there if you're
Yeah.
there and if you found it. So,
I grew up in New York, so New York would also be a fun place too. But
hmm
I don't know
yeah.
about fun, but it would, yeah. But yeah,
Well, I can see it. I live in New York, so I can see it kind of a nest village location. You know what I mean? I can totally
absolutely.
see it there.
East Village, yeah.
And then, what was your role in the short film? Because I understand the short film was done in the coffee shop mostly, but then the feature was shoot in Arkansas. Is that right?
Oh, good. Yeah, good. You did your homework. You're
I always do.
the first person I think that watched the short, if you watched it. But yeah, the short did take place in a coffee shop. You know, it was limited, right? It was a short film. You know, you only have a limited budget. We shot it in 3 days, and it was actually a coffee shop in Van Nuys, California. And yeah, I said to myself, like, we did have a version of this story that it was a feature that did take place in a coffee shop. We were going for it, kind of like a Clerks type of thing, where 2 to 3 locations and like that's it. But ultimately, I decided to bring in another writer and kind of expand. I said, you know what, let's just maybe make a new story, but let's have the coffee shop in the story, but not just characters that hang around the coffee shop. It was a very interesting idea, but ultimately we decided to, excuse me, just put Shaky Grounds in a bigger story, and that's what we did. So I started to think about, well, where did coffee kind of start, or maybe catch its like rhythm and started to like really trend. I was like, well, Seattle, that's where in like the 90s, maybe 80s, 90s, Seattle. And then, well, what goes on in Seattle where there's like a big music scene, right? There's the
Mhm.
grunge sound that was kind of, I guess, invented and or created. And that was like in the 80s, 90s. It was like the Pearl Jam, Nirvana. And then we started to think, well, what if there's this like band or troubled musicians that just keep getting in their own way but they're really talented from that Seattle area. And then that's when the story started. That's what's called like the process. Start to brainstorm with people, right? That's when
Mhm.
like the magic happens. That creative, it just comes out of just falls from the sky. And you go, and we said, okay, well, we could have a coffee shop. We could put Shaky Grounds in Seattle, and then there could be like a band. Maybe somebody like maybe the girl owns the Matt owns the coffee shop and she's managing this band and like but they're giving her a hard time and there could be like an A&R executive that's like seeking talent and that's when it happened and we decided to ultimately switch to Arkansas.
Mhm.
That was just more of a business move. They have a really good incentive over there.
Uh-huh.
So like for filmmakers, I think they had one they we shot this in 2023, so I think they had one of the best in the country at the time. So we just switched it to Arkansas, and I flew there, and the film commissioner rolled out the red carpet for me, and was a really great man. And we started looking at locations, and Arkansas worked. It looks like Seattle. It felt like it a little bit, parts of Northwest Arkansas. So everything seemed to work out, and but that's how the story kind of. And then we just piggybacked, and you just keep writing, and stuff like that. So
Okay, so that's, I guess, advice for future filmmakers to use and pick Arkansas if you're saying that you're happy with it. So,
I
yeah.
was I was happy with Arkansas and the crew. They were all the best.
hmm Okay. Um, the film has some really good music in it. So I understand it's original music. How did you go about getting that into the film, and what were the challenges that you faced?
There were challenges. I don't know if I would do original music again with these kinds of budgets from the producer side. Of course, everybody else on the creative side like wants to do it, but you know, when you got responsibilities, it's you don't want to go over budget. This was very important because a lot of people do end up going over budget. So the challenges were, how are we going to play this live? How are we going to, are the actors going to have to sing? And then you have to add days and things like that. But we got a really good deal. We ultimately hired this band called Mayday, this music group called Mayday, and they're a touring group and they've got albums out and everything. And the director knew them, so that was a good contact. So he worked out a deal with them, and we just had them. grind, get to work. They got paid to do a job, and I think we got about 3 to 5 songs, and it's a really cool sound. It's
Mhm.
I feel like it's with today's kind of sound, a little bit rap, hip hop, rock. Kind of like where you want to kind of keep just like bobbing your head kind of thing. And yeah, and we actually had one of the actors, Eric Nelson, that played the role of Travis, and most people know Eric from the show 1883, which is the prequel to Yellowstone,
Mhm.
which fucking rocked. So I'm really happy that he auditioned and he killed it. He's got like this Kurt Cobain vibe to him,
Yeah.
and he actually sings the he sings some of these songs as well, um, with Mayday. So, and he plays guitar. So we also had these actors actually played the instruments at times. Like our drummer, Matt Gumley, who's actually a professional artist. He has an album out too now. He shreds on the guitar. But in this movie, he plays the drums and like he was playing them. I'm talking like Dave Grohl, like he was crushing it. We would sit there on set and he was just doing like his thing, and we were like, holy crap. So it helped too that, right? Because in most movies, I don't know if people know that the musicians, the camera cheats it where you don't really see them playing, or if they do, maybe it's not their fingers playing the piano, or maybe it's
Mhm.
not them on guitar or with AI now, who the hell knows. But
Mhm.
Matt is really playing the drums in all the scenes, like really playing them. And he plays it perfect too. So I'm really proud of that aspect, like some of those things. The original music, these guys really sang the songs, they played instruments. I play a little guitar in it as well. So yes, I am really proud of that. It's not easy sometimes with indies to do the original music, like you said. Um, but we were committed, and this is my first project. I learned a lot from this. I made a
Mhm.
lot of mistakes, but I think that's like in life, we make mistakes, and that's how we learn, right? They say you only learn from mistakes.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of this to be my first one. So I'm really excited for the next few, though. Now I know kind of what to look for with you know certain things with crew and stuff. So yeah, with my team. You have to have a
So,
strong team, is what I learned too. You always want to you want to get with people that know their responsibility, that have your back,
mhm.
that work hard and deliver. So yeah.
Any other advice you would give to people that would like to start producing films or anything that they need to watch out for?
I don't. I'll be honest.
Mhm.
I'm still learning myself, but what I like to say is that I want to just piggyback off of what I said. It's when you go and you're hiring, you're getting directors, writers, even producer partners. You have to make sure that people have your back. You know what I mean? And this is my acting coach, the great Aaron Spicer and Kay Aston. They are Will Smith's personal coach, Jim Carrey, J Lo. Like they go to the sets, like they stand right next to them and coach them. He always, would remind me, this is a selfish industry we're in. It's kind of stubborn, right? And people will take care of themselves. So as the producer, you have to, I don't want to say like grow up in a way, but this really taught me, you got to step up. Sometimes you may have to fire people, right? And you may have to hire people last minute. You have to make sure that you are protecting your brand and your product. And
Mhm.
if people just don't listen or they're not into it, they got to go. I know it sounds harsh, but this is the best advice I could give right now. There's a lot of other things, but I say that because time is money,
Yeah.
and it takes a fucking long time to raise this money. And I know how actors are because I am one. So people just want to sometimes come in, and it's just like you do your thing and you go home. It's a business, right?
Mhm.
So you really have to make sure that, it's like you're going to war, and everybody has to have, everyone has to do, you have to get what you need, because when it's over, it's over. Like there's things I want to go back and go, I wish I can go back day 3 and do this in the coffee shop, or, I wish I could do this, or, I wish maybe I would have hired this person for this, position, or, I didn't know they were going to be like this. So you just have to do your best with like weeding out and interviewing people and really just putting the best team together that knows the assignment and will create that good vibe. You never want anything toxic on set. And with, I had 60 people under me here. So with like a big crew, there's a lot of different personalities, right? Oh my gosh, right? You know us actors, artists. So you have to also be able to work with that too. And so shit, that's one thing I could tell you. But I'm glad I learned that. So for any producers, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not like you turn into like the bad guy, but like you kind of do a little bit.
Mm.
You do, you have to like grow up. It's like I grinded in restaurants for a long time, as artists know. There's restaurants, waiting tables, doing this to pay the bills. And it's like when you're a waiter, you just want to come in and you're just like, oh, your boss tells you something. You're like, whatever, whatever. I'm not going to do my side work, or I'm not going to do this. Or you try to get out of it. And now all of a sudden, like, see as waiter buys the restaurant. And now you're like, oh, you see the other side of it now, paying the bills, that immature 17-year-old busboy that you used to be, that's giving, lip to the manager, or, now you have guests that you have to really, you have a business now.
Mhm.
So going from acting to producing that's the example I could give, is now you have this brand and business to protect. So it's just a lot of responsibilities. You really become like the boss. And no, not a lot of people like the boss. That's just like in life, right? But I love it. I love it. I can't wait to keep going. This next one that God willing gets going soon, I'm going to make a big announcement, is going to be something pretty huge, and I can't wait to start that. But yeah, but that's what the advice I would give with producing, if that kind of makes sense in a way.
So the next one that you mentioned, how much can you say about it? Where are you in it?
Well, I could say that I'm teaming up with a gentleman by the name of Greg Abbott. He wrote a few books. One of them being called Varsity Blues, and the book is kind of like a true story of his life, and it takes place in the early 2000s, New York City, and different areas in the tri-state area. I don't want to say too much, but it's a fantastic script, um, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now.
Mhm. Have you cast it about it? Have you found
No,
the
no,
money?
not
Okay.
not yet. But we're talking about some big time actors for this, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to go out. And I would be the boss of this, which is great.
Mhm.
So I can't wait to go out and start looking at directors, and I can't, because now I know what to look for with my crew and my team, and I'm really excited about that.
How much saying are you going to have in the casting process?
Oh, I'll have to say, I'm like going to be the El Jefe of this one,
Mhm. Okay.
which is like dream come true. So yeah,
Okay, that's really good. And I assume you're going to be in it as well?
I am going to be in it, and my role is it's going to be so great in this one too. I've always wanted to play like yeah, he's like a club owner, likes to dabble with some drugs, pretty hopped up, and he owes people money. New York City, early 2000s. So yeah, we might do
Okay.
early 2000s. We might do pre-COVID. We'll see. We might change some of the dates around, but yeah.
And lastly, do you have any other plans for Shaky Grounds at the moment?
I don't. I think we did the best we could,
Hmm.
and we're now available on the streaming platforms. The business is kind of funny now. They're kind of trying to figure out streaming platforms and things like that, as far as what people are getting paid now and everything. They're working through that. But no, I hope, I want to just say I'm really proud, if I can. I do want to talk about the cast really quick, because,
Yeah.
as you can see in this poster, the cast is, I'm really proud of too. It's not easy to get a cast. Like, I'm really proud of this cast. Like, I just want to go through. So I talked about Eric Nelson, and
Hmm.
Eric's doing a bunch of indies right now, and he's always working. We have Ella Cannon, she plays the group's manager, and she's the owner slash manager of the Shaky Grounds coffee shop. She's been in a bunch of Hallmark movies, Lifetime. She did a great movie called Trees of Peace on Netflix. I recommend everybody watch that. It's dramatic. She had me crying in one scene. True story too. Really, like, really dark. Not dark, but just a drama.
Hmm.
And we have Kenzie Ziegler, who now has her own clothing line. She just came off a huge tour. She had a album come out. Can you say record anymore? I don't even know if that's a thing. Maybe I'm too old. um, and most people do recognize her from Dance Moms from back in the day.
Oh, General Hospital.
No, that's Kenzie Ziegler I'm talking
Oh, yeah.
about from
Hmm.
she's younger.
Hmm.
And yeah, she was ranked, I think, right under Justin Bieber for most influential influencers of 2025. Yeah. And she's got a really loyal fan base, as well as Kelly Tibad. She's got a really loyal fan base. And I heard she's gonna go back to General Hospital, which is pretty dope. Right?
Hmm.
Kelly's been
Hmm.
in like hundreds of episodes. She plays Travis's sister.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have the great Eric Roberts who came in for. I had to put him on the poster. Some people were like, "Oh, is he in the whole movie?" I was like, "No," but it was just like a marketing thing. But he is in a good 5 minutes of it, and his scenes are with me, and I learned a
Hmm.
lot from that day. I learned a real lot. It was great working with him. And who else? I think that's it. And me in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I am very proud of this cast. Very proud of the casting director. And I'm just proud of everybody. I'm proud of the whole team. And I can't wait for the future. This was a good start, and it's available now. And I think it's a cute story, you know?
Hmm.
Again, like there are things that when you watch it, it goes fast. Like it doesn't really break up at all. I wish we would have broken it up a little bit more. But and you'll see what I mean if when people watch it. But I do love the story, and again, there are things I wish I can go back and do in scenes, but I think that's like every movie maker always wants to.
Yeah.
You want to go back and I wish I would have did this. It's like a relationship. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have done that. It's too late. It's over. Yeah. No. So, but thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of this film for it being my first one.
Well, I watched it last night, and to be honest, I felt it was flowing really well, and I enjoyed watching it. It was
Thank
an
you.
easy film to watch, you know?
That's I get that
Yeah.
a lot. Like it goes. It's there's I don't want to ruin it. There's no like crazy action or like drug, sex, or alcohol. It just goes. It just keeps going, almost like an MTV reality series. Something that's it just goes. It just flows. There's no crazy stuff. There's quite a bit of cursing in this, which I didn't like, but that ultimately I decided on that. But besides that, yeah, it does flow. What else did you think? It was nice, right?
Yeah, yes, I really enjoyed it. And every person had their story, I felt.
Yeah,
I could see the personality of every single person in it.
yeah,
So yeah, it was really good watching. It was fun to watch it.
yeah.
And obviously it's the good guy and the bad guy. So
Yeah, I want to say there's a couple other co-stars. So David Lotman that plays the bad guy in this. He was great too. This guy David that if you see his face, you'll recognize him. He does a commercial every month. Like he's always on TV. He is the best, and he's doing a lot of great stuff. Moses Jones,
mhm.
he's always working. I believe he was just cast in the new Naked Gun too. Who else? We have DJ EFM. He has the biggest hip hop podcast. He just won a Grammy. I don't know what the word is, but he just won a huge, I think, a Grammy for number one hip hop podcast, like on right
Cool.
now. I think it's called Drink Champs.
Mhm.
So he has a cameo in the beginning. So this was cool. This, for what it was. Did you like the kiss at the end? That was my idea. I'm a big Dawson's Creek fan.
Of
So I
course.
don't want to ruin it, but there's like this slow kiss where
Yeah.
they go. So it's a joke though, but
No, I was waiting for it,
that was the
obviously.
ode to my favorite, which why I started acting. I was a big Dawson's Creek fan in like
Mhm.
1999, 2001, all that.
Mhm.
Um, so ode to Dawson's Creek. That's my tribute to Dawson's Creek was that the slow kiss.
Yeah, no, I was really waiting for that because you were expecting it to happen. Otherwise, you'd be like, why did
Yeah,
they not kiss? So are they not
yeah,
together now anymore? Yeah, yeah, no, I really liked it. So
yeah. It's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, of
It was good
course.
moments in this. I appreciate. Yeah, most people. That's what I like to say. It just flows. It
Hmm.
flows. Feels
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Of
And
course.
this was like a SAG feature. So I say that
Yeah.
because a lot of indies now people do things, cutting corners or non-union. So but working with SAG, that was also a learning experience because there are certain guidelines you have to follow, right?
Yeah.
There's first class tickets, there's taxi rides, there's has to be certain 5-star hotels, there's meals, and there's certain catering things. So we followed it perfectly, and
Hmm.
and which is not easy to, I'm telling you, it's not easy to do. You have to get it right. And we were rookies on this, right? Amateurs. So again, I'm very proud of my producers, Carl Tempesta. Man, I love you, man. He was a rock star. Um, very professional, made sure we were on time, on budget. And, the film commissioner of Arkansas literally told us, like, and I believed him. He said, we do over 100 films a year, and you guys were the most organized. I was like,
Oh,
really?
wow.
And he was like, yeah, like, which is I love, that was a really big compliment.
Of course.
Because I don't know if are you in the industry? Because there's 50 things you have
I
to do a
am.
day. There's
Yeah.
100 things you have to do.
Yeah.
And there's just only so much time to do these things. And that was, yeah, I'm very proud of the team for that too. And working with SAG, they loved working with, because SAG is, and we had to work with the WGA. Wow, that's a whole other beast. So there are certain things that you have to follow or they'll come after you. You see all the time in SAG, right? I get the newsletters every day. They're don't work on this, do not work notice, shutting down, because now I see that, I understand from the other side that producers, there's something that they're not doing right or trying to get around or, you know, so you have to follow things. And um, so now I know, again, for the future, how that process is going to go.
Mhm.
So I'm in a really good spot here, and I'm really excited for the future. And Dank Productions, I'm gonna do some good. I think I'm gonna go on a good run right now,
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of getting ready to make some big announcements. And it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. Some of these opportunities. I know you asked me about the other film. I really want to talk about the story, but we're going after some A-listers. Like this is a nice budget. So
Mhm.
um, I'm excited for the opportunity. And just always remember Shaky Grounds was kind of, like what
The first
started it.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't make, who knows what's going to happen with it. But um, the next one we're definitely going to go. Looks like movie theaters or push for it. But I'm really proud of Shaky Grounds, and it took a lot of years to do this,
Mhm.
and ups and downs, and the script was rewritten. If the executive producers are going to watch this, which I know they are, laugh when I say maybe laugh and cry. But the script was probably rewritten over 12 times by 12 different writers. I mean, it was a lot, and we finally decided on this version. Eventually, we just had enough is enough. We didn't know if it was going to work. We were just like, let's just do it already. As you can imagine, and since 2010, we didn't. It didn't take the 12 years. We didn't work on it every day for that. We kind of stopped for a few years, and we didn't know if we were going to continue. But then I picked up in 2018 and said, let's do this. Let's really try to make this film Shaky Grounds. And we all committed and started to raise money. And I invested a little bit in myself, which I recommend too if people want to do. Now you could do movies. The whole shift of COVID really changed everything with the streaming platforms, because now you're seeing stories of people doing features for 50,000
Mhm.
and they're making money. 100,000 to you don't have to raise the money that you it's always good to have it, the funds, as much as you can get. But there are worlds now where you could raise 50 grand, 300 grand and make good features, and these streaming platforms are going to pick them up.
Yeah.
They are, right?
Mhm.
And then you have a chance of making your money back too, low risk, high reward type of thing. So everyone's like learning right now. We're all going through it as producers, like, because it has changed. I get that asked a lot. But yeah, so I'm really proud of this. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Man,
speaking
there's
to
a
me.
lot of
Yeah.
caffeine in here. I just like rambled on. Yeah.
It was
Well,
it was nice to
you
get to
could
meet
edit like
you.
90% of this out, okay?
I'll leave all of it because
No, please
it was
edit, please.
interesting.
I beg you to edit. Please edit.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. It was really nice. And I look forward to speaking to you again, actually, when you
Yes,
make the announcement.
sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Goodbye.